So the 13th one, a uniform horizontal beam OX 4 meter long and weighing 100 Newton is hinged at wall at point O. It is suspended by a cord of XY which is attached to the wall at Y. So the hinge is at O. This is the hinge, and what is the tension in the cord? So imagine, remember guys, the tension is tension in the string is always to the fixed point or where it is tied. That's why, so the tension is in that direction in the string, and then there is a 4 meters long. They said that weighing 100 newtons. So where do you write weight of the beam? Here at the middle, at the midpoint, the weight acts, that we know. So the 100 Newton force is acting there. So from the hinge to the weight, now it is a 4 divided by 2 which is 2 meters, which is 2 meters. So what is the tension? So you need to resolve the tension onto the x-axis and y-axis. Let me resolve the tension onto the y-axis and also to the x-axis. So if I resolve, the tension will be T sine theta, which is T sine 30 here, and then on the x-axis T cos 30, T cos 30, and it is in equilibrium. The system is in equilibrium, which means clockwise moments are equal to anti-clockwise moments. That is, clockwise moments are equal to anti-clockwise moments. Which force produces clockwise moments? Which force produces anti-clockwise moments? In this question, you must notice. So the T sine 30 produces the anti-clockwise moments. Why? You just need to understand, the hinge is here. The beam, when you pull the beam in the shown direction, which is upwards, how the beam moves in the clockwise direction. That's why the T sine 30 anti-clockwise direction. That's why this T sine 30 produces anti-clockwise moments, and this 100 Newton weight, 100 Newton force, which is weight, acts downwards, which means that is producing the clockwise moments. So the clockwise moments are equal to anti-clockwise moments. So how to calculate the moments produced by this 100 Newton force is 100 times 2, just like a moment is force times perpendicular distance, right? Force times perpendicular distance. So 100 times 2, 100 is the force, and then 2 is the perpendicular distance from the hinge to the point where it is acting, and then that is equal to anti-clockwise moments, means that T sine 30 times the perpendicular distance from the hinge is 4 meters. So 4. So 100 divided by 100 times 2 is equal to T sine 30 times 4. So 200 divided by 4 is equal to T sine 30. So 50 is equal to T sine 30 is what? 1 over 2. So T is equal to 50 times 2, which is equal to 100 newtons. That's the answer. That's the 100 newtons is answer. And let's see the 14th one. An object shaped as a hemisphere rests with its flat surface on a table. The object has radius r and density rho. The volume of the sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cube. Which average pressure does the object exert on the table? So the volume you have 4 over 3 pi r cube. Density you have, you can calculate the mass. Why do you need to calculate the mass? So here you have to calculate the pressure, right? So the pressure is equal to force over area. And what is the force exerted by this hemisphere on the table? Of course, its weight, right? So that is equal to m times g divided by a. So the m times g divided by a, that's why you need to calculate the mass. How do you calculate the mass? Density is equal to mass over volume, right? Density is equal to mass over volume, and then the mass is equal to density times volume. Mass is equal to density times volume. Put that density times volume here. So the pressure will be equal to mass is equal to density times volume. So density is rho, volume is 4 over 3 pi r cube times g divided by the area. What is when you take a sphere, cut it into half and then put the half on the table, how does it look? What is the area which is in contact with the table? Circle, right? So the circle is area of the circle, that is the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. That is equal to, so pi cancels out, and then r square cancels out. In the r cube, r square will be gone, and then r is left. So rho times 4rg divided by 3. Rho rg divided by 3. So where is the is this hemisphere rest? Then the mass is the total. We took the mass is a total sphere, but here it is only hemisphere, which means the total divided by half, because it should not be 4 over 3 pi r cube. It should be the weight should not be 4 over 3 pi r cube g. It should be 4 over 6 pi r cube g. Why? This is the mass of rho times 4 over 3 pi r cube is the mass of all the sphere, but in the question it is only hemisphere. That's why you need to make it to half. So the two ones are 2 twos are, which means 2 over 3 r rho g. So r rho g 2 over 3. So which is D. The answer is D. Okay. Make sure here the mass is mass of the hemisphere. That's why you need to divide it by to half. Okay. You need to divide it by to half. That's the 14th one. And then 16th one. 16th one. Now the 15th one. Let's see first. Which statement best represents the principle of conservation of energy? Energy cannot be used faster than it's created. The supply of energy is limited, so energy must be conserved. The total energy in a closed system is constant. The total energy input to a system is equal to the useful energy output. Useful energy output, this is definitely wrong because some of the energy is gone, right? So it not necessarily all the time the input energy should be equal to useful output energy, right? The total energy in a closed system is constant. It makes sense. I'll go for C. C. Okay. And then 16th one. A crane is being used to lift the containers of a ship. One container has a mass of 14,000 kg and it is being lifted vertically with a speed of 3.2 meters per second. The electric motor being used the electric motor being used to supply the power to lift the container is using a current of 240 ampere at a potential difference of 2200 volts. What is the efficiency of the system? Now here you have to understand that the container has a mass of 14,000 kg and it is being lifted vertically with a speed of 3.2 meters per second. So that is the output. The container is being lifted means that's output, right? And then what is the input? This is the input. The electric motor is being used to supply the power. So the electric motor is giving the energy, and then lift is lifting the objects. So the efficiency is equal to, what is the efficiency formula? The efficiency formula is equal to useful power output divided by total power input. This is a formula, right? So the efficiency is equal to the useful power output is what? Here you need to know the formula for power when the force and velocities are given. Power is equal to force times velocity. If you do not remember this formula, maybe you need to recall the power concept. Okay, that's the force times velocity. The force is the weight of this mass, because that's being lifted up against the gravity. So that's the force, which is equal to 14,000 divided times 9.8. That is there's a weight, and then times velocity. Velocity is what? 3.2 meters per second. So 3.2 meters divided by total power input. What is the total power input? 240 ampere times 2200 volts, which means the power when the current and then voltage is given, the power can be calculated as power is equal to VI, if you remember this formula from the electricity. So the V is equal to 2200 times current is equal to 240, which is equal to 000 and then 0010 cancel, which is this will be turning to 14 times 9.8 times 3.2 divided by 22 times 24. This is the answer. What times 100? Okay, times 100%, because the question is given in the percentages, so that's the percentage. And then let me calculate that answer. Where is the calculator? Where is my calculator? Here. So bracket begins. Uh, 14 times 9.8 times 3.2 is equal to 43904 divided by 22 times 24. 528 is equal to 83.15%. 83.15%, which means D. Okay, that's how you will calculate the 13, 14, 15, 16.